Hello and welcome back to Listening Heart Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today with us. I am Lady B and I have my husband AJ here. And today we will be talking about how we deal with and overcame some of the difficult times in our marriage when, things got rough.
Well, basically, my perspective is we're going to be dealing with early stages of marriage and growing together and trying to turn the individual concept of being single into a marital type of environment where you're growing a family now and you're trying to do it in a way that's everybody's personal values and standards and what they're looking for as individuals can coincide with each other and coexist to form one. So two singles trying to make one uniformed covenant, so to speak, as God had it. So me personally, I just feel that me as a male, a single guy, that I started off not knowing what to expect because I never knew what a healthy marriage looked like, due to a broken marriage between my mother and father. And basically, I went in with tolerating fear and being fearful of commitment. So therefore, I came in apprehensive about what to expect.
Yeah, so marriage, can start off healthy, but sometimes, with the changes in our life, life takes a turn, in our lives. Sometimes it can be challenge, become challenge, trying to, deal with everyday things that, we have to deal with in our lives. And of course, when there's no when we don't have that strong marriage that's built on a strong foundation, when there's a lack of communication and the respect, we're not given the respect that we deserve, and when there is no, the honesty, the trust, that could make things difficult as well in a marriage or a relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. The truth is that your struggles, at least mine, was that I did believe, but it was a struggle for me to believe in a good marriage because I didn't have any example of what marriage should have been between my mother and father. It was always arguments, it was antagonistic, and altercations always ensued. And I find that, you tend to mimic what you were brought up on, seeing. It wasn't the truth, but, which the only truth is that is God, which is the truth wrapped in flesh. So I didn't see it. It wasn't an example to me, so I had to kind of struggle going through an early marriage with trying to be that husband that my wife needed. But at younger years, now you also have a lot of things that play into that, and we'll talk about that.
I came from a broken home too, as well. So when I got married, I brought all of that into the marriage, But I came into the marriage with problems that I grew up with in my home. So that made my marriage difficult, starting out, to cope with. But, as a couple, we just need to be able to and be willing to endure and get through those difficult times in our marriage. And marriage can be successful when the couple is willing to work together, and make things work. Some people may be ready to call it quits because they may feel like there's no hope for the marriage. But if you put God in front of that marriage, anything is possible through Christ Jesus.
Yeah. And also the fact of trying to get 4-step, 5-step, 6-step, whatever step to a perfect marriage, that's kind of a falsehood, because no one can tell you what it's going to take with a written word in a book, okay, which is logos. I do believe that's Latin for written. The logos word meaning that the words that come out of my mouth that I read or what somebody speaks to me can only relate to my mind what is in front of me. Well, there's also another word called rhema word, which is the translation of a word in the Bible, which gives you the meaning of it, of what that word is supposed to mean to you. So I had to figure out the rhema word, which I never did understand until I was going through certain things that I went through in an early marriage. So, just be aware that everybody can tell you something or give you a 5-step recipe for a perfect marriage, but that's just someone talking. Okay, you got to go to the Bible, read what it says about marriage and togetherness, and get the rhema word, which is the hidden word. Is not so hidden as it is the light of the word, what it means. Okay, so just be careful not to take anybody's idea of how their marriage is going to put that into your marriage, because no two marriages are exactly alike.
And I went into my marriage with the mindset divorce was not an option for me, unless, as long as there was no physical or mental abuse in my marriage, and fornication. It was not an option for me. As long as I had the trust, the respect, and the communication, and that love, that unconditional love, I felt that I could work through the other stuff, because, I wanted my kids to be raised with their father, their biological father, because I wanted that family, like that, because I came from a broken family. I wasn't raised with my biological father. I was raised with a stepfather and my biological mother. So I went into my marriage with that mindset. I wanted a family like that with the biological mother, biological father. That's the way I wanted it.
And me personally, I feel like I was in a marriage as far as with Lady B here, that was based on our what we were brought up in, and kind of based our expectations off of how we were raised. I expected certain things not to happen because, of course, like in the Bible it says, where sin abounds, grace much more abounds. So that meaning that even though my sin that came from me understanding that how a marriage I thought should be, it didn't really matter, because God's grace on that marriage much more abounds. Because as I told you in the past, I believe God's number one reason for man being created was because God wanted a family on this earth. Okay, so therefore we have to understand that even though we may have came through some sinful type of environments, okay, grace, there's enough grace in this world. If you got the faith of a mustard seed, you can get through all issues within your marriage. It took me a while to get there, okay, because you can't change a person's DNA. Lady B didn't try to change my DNA. She just tried to change my idea of how I thought about things. She asked me to get to church. I wasn't ready for that. I still was wanting to run the streets, wanted to do my, things that were not conducive to a happy marriage. But she hung in there with me, and I slowly came to realize that it took a while. So I'm talking about years of me being going through a bunch of things that I didn't even have to go through, but me thinking that this is the way it is because that's how I came up. I had to pick up my bed and walk like the guy at the pool of Bethesda in the Bible. When Jesus saw him, the guy had all kinds of excuses. I've been at this pool for 38 years. I can't walk. I had no man to lift me and put me in that pool to get that one blessing that came by every year, because everybody around them pushed them, ignored them and got in there first. It's the same thing, all Jesus said to the guy at the pool of Bethesda is, pick up your bed and walk. So what does that mean? I'll tell you as soon as Lady B tell you what she want to tell you.
Okay, I do agree with my husband. It takes years and years and time, to mature in a marriage. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. I'm not saying that my marriage was perfect. There was times that I felt like throwing in the towel and walking away from my marriage when I felt like I wasn't, receiving the love, the attention, and appreciation that I deserved. Yes, there was times that I did want to walk away from the marriage. But, I just believe as Christians, every marriage needs God in front of it, because I don't believe you can do it by yourself. That's just my opinion. Some may feel different, but this is just how I feel. There's things that that I went through and you may go through that you just can't handle by yourself. It's going to take God to work it out and make it right. With God, all things are possible. I believe once a couple marry, I believe and make that commitment, God expects us to fight for our marriage and to work things out. Now it's different now if you're in a physical and mental situation, or if there's
danger,
some type of danger or life-threatening, different mindset. Yes, I don't believe God.
Well, you don't let nobody.
God is not of confusion. Mm-hmm. So I don't believe He expects that for you to stay in situations like that,
where you're being beat on, or or cussed out every day, or abusive type of relationship. Yeah, I agree with that. But God tells you, He tells you that I put before you life and death, and He gives you He gives you the answer to that question. He says, choose life. It's real simple. I was choosing death because there were a lot of instances where I couldn't be here today because of my gambling type of things, me doing things that was not conducive of living a long life. I really felt that I was choosing death and didn't even realize it based on my decisions. Okay, it's we're all free moral agents. Okay, we are free to be moral, and we are agent of our own body and life, and it's up to us to choose life or death. And He gave you the answer right there in the Bible: choose life.
Yes, God, He hates divorce, but He also hates violence. He's not a God. That's not His character. He's not. He's a God of love. So therefore, He hates abuse, abusive situations. You know, he don't expect for us to stay in situations like that. God can restore the love back in any marriage, you know, as long as, you know, there's no violence and things like that. You know, we have to do our part. You know, I had to do my part in my marriage. I had to do the things that I felt that I was doing wrong. My husband had to do his part, you know, to make that marriage work. You know, you can't it can't be a one side. It can't be just your way. You have to come together and work together as a married couple to have that strong foundation. You know, and you have to have God in front of that marriage, because you can't. I couldn't do it. You know, I'm a witness to that. I couldn't do it without God being in front of it, because there was some times when I may have been going through things that I didn't want to discuss with my family. I wanted to take it to God, you know, and talk to God about it, you know, my concerns.
Yeah, we basically are in a warfare, whether we realize it or not. This isn't random. You know, God is of a strategy for the kingdom, okay, of heaven. I'm not trying to deal with the kingdom of earth, because that's been conquered already, but it's been handed over to man. Adam, you know, actually gave the keys back to the enemy, Satan. But then when Jesus died, he took those keys back, rose up from the grave, and we're all under grace. And what we have to understand is that we are no longer worrying about what's going to happen. We are warring, W-A-R, instead of W-O-R-R-Y-I-N-G. I'm not worrying anymore. Now I'm warring against Satan and his agents that they have to oppress and try to take us out of this earth before we are saved, or whatever the case may be. And he hates marriages, or he hates the man's seed, because what we're doing is expanding God's kingdom. Now, it's up to you to believe that or not. That's my belief now, you know, but I can tell you some things that I went through. You know, I can remember, like Paul did on the road to Damascus, when he was blinded and Jesus appeared and said, why do you persecute me? Okay, and Paul basically said, I ain't did nothing to you, you know, but Jesus told him, you persecuting my people, which were the Israelites, you know, the Jews. So you are persecuting me. And so I've had that instance where I've come home from being out all night, and actually I got blinded by, I couldn't open my eyes. I had no sight. And my wife had to actually guide me to the washroom. We tried washing them and everything, but they stayed closed for at least, I want to say, 8 hours. I had to keep my eyes closed, because every time I tried to open them, they would just shut right back. And I believe that was God blinding me, telling me, you know, you need to think about what you're doing. And after about 8 hours, my wife led me to the bed. And when I woke up, after about 8 hours, my eyes opened up and I was just fine. I'm just telling you that the small things that you think are just happening with your body or whatever, that could be a sign of something. Now that I know what I know about the Bible, I could say that I was blinded and I felt like Paul on the road to Damascus. Jesus had something to tell me, like, you know, I'm persecuting his Christian, his daughter, my wife. And I'm like, why am I persecuting her? So I'm gonna let you think about that on your own. What you think, what you will.
Well, that's why I say we definitely need, as Christians, we definitely need God in front of our marriages, because a lot of times when my husband, went out and stayed out till all types of mornings, I was there with the kids. It bothered me. He was still maturing in the marriage. I understood that. I tried to have patience and wait for him to get through those times that he thought he was missing out there in those streets. But with God, that's why I say we need God in front of the marriage, because a lot of times when he did go out, instead of me getting mad, I would wait for him to leave, so I can get on my knees and go to God, and talk to God about my concern about this situation. My husband still wanting to run with the boys and be out there while I was home with the kids. So I would just go to God, give him my concerns, talk to him about my concerns. And yes, strange things was happening. When my husband would come in, the particular time he's telling you about, his eyes was closed. He barely made it home. Well, yes, I do strongly believe God had something to do with that, because when he left out, that was my time to get on my knees and take it to the Father. And so that's what I did, And I had faith in the Word of God. So I prayed and I leaned on God. I leaned on God and not my understanding, it was a battle, going on there, a warfare battle.
And what I had to do was change my speech, okay? From what I wanted, I had to change it to about what it is in my life at this time. Because it was all about what I wanted and not what is. What is that I'm married, I have a family. That's what is. What I was to be in the streets. I wanted to be able to do what I want when I want. So I didn't change my philosophy of where I was in this particular portion of my life. So once I did change from what I wanted to what is, I found happiness along with getting to the point where we were able to open businesses. We were able to be together all the time, take trips, do all of this. And it was all, because I changed what I wanted to what is. And what is what God wants. I chose life while I was choosing death before.
And I had to go to God not only for my husband, but for myself as well, because I wasn't perfect either. I had to find some type of peace and happiness as well during this time. I had to go before the Lord. I had to seek God, because His desires is to restore and, heal our broken marriages, so we have to give it to God, trust and lean on Him. I wasn't perfect, because a lot of times when my husband was out there, I had a messed up attitude. My personality wasn't always right. It caused a lot of confusion between me and my husband, but through God, we were able to get through it, when we, because when we fight for our marriage, we are choosing to put God first in our lives, in the marriage as well. When we make that commitment and we fight for it, it is a reflection of that commitment. Is a reflection, of the covenant between Jesus and ourselves. So, you know, God's desire, that makes God happy. He designed marriage, he designed family, and he designed it not for it to be broken, you know. But if there are situations that it has to be broken, like abusive situations and things like that, yes, God hates divorces, but he also hates violence. So I'm not saying for someone that they should stay in that type of situation.
Right. And, if you ever have any, I feel like any type of issues with how to move forward or struggle with it, you can always pray. And you can start with something like, understanding that it's not your will, but it's God's will. That family stays together, love dominates over hate. And then also, leave, pretty much if you leave all the lies behind, you're left with nothing else but truth, okay? So I was lying a lot when I was in the streets. I did a lot of lying to my wife to stay out there in the streets long periods of time, but all I was doing was increasing the chances of not making it back until I found the truth, okay? And then your prayer, it's like, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day. So take one day at a time, your daily bread. So don't try to think about the future so much as you do the day. You'll get to that future if you choose in life on a daily basis. Your days will be numbered by God, okay, not by you choosing death or death issues. Choose life issues. And so, it's your ground zero is where you got to find it, okay? Share the journey with your wife, with your spouse, and you both start at ground. Me and my wife had to start at ground zero because we both came from broken families. When I say broken, they didn't necessarily, we did not see them. I did not see my father, but I went to live with my father sometimes, and sometimes I lived with my mother. But the point is, the family network was broken, and it's a cycle. So you got to get out of that cycle, and with discovering the word that's in the Bible. And believe me or not, that you can learn a lot from that Bible, the step-by-step process. It's all in there. Anything you want to know about anything in this world that you ever want to experience is in that Bible. It may be an agricultural term, because back then they didn't have cars and spaceships and, all the technology. But if you correlate it back to a agricultural type of thing, back when Jesus was around walking this earth, everything that you go through, Jesus went through, and he walked on this earth. He was the only one perfect enough to deliver you from hell and pay that ransom and redeem your soul. So your marriage has been redeemed. Choose life, and don't worry about how you look, how your family look. Okay, you can change your sphere. When I say sphere, it's a sphere of influence, a circle of influence. Your immediate relatives and everything, they are changed by watching you.
And I do agree with that. What they see or what they're taught is what they're going to do. They may do, because they seen the parents do it. That's why God, when he designed family, he expected for one man and one wife, I believe, the biological parents to raise that kid in a way that he desired for them to be raised. God desired for them to be raised, so that when they become in their adulthood, that training, that correct training that they get, they would take it into their marriage. I don't believe God, I don't believe designed broken marriages. Broken marriage to me is a generational curse. Unless it's dealt with, it's going to just keep going and
generation.
It's just going to keep going in the same cycle.
Yeah, death cycle.
Until someone breaks that cycle.
And the only way to do that is
if a couple is not willing to work together and change the situation or issue that is going on in the marriage through Christ Jesus, then the situation may be hopeless. You have to be willing to make those changes, and you have to allow God to help. If you're not going to allow God to help,
right?
What's going on in your marriage?
I believe hopelessness.
It may be hopeless.
No, but I feel also that hopelessness is the absence of light, and you're in the darkness. Okay, and you need to understand that Jesus is that light that you're looking for, and the hopelessness you're feeling is the enemy. Okay. And he doesn't want a family, because all that does is generate more Christians. It generates more faith in God and Jesus, and everything ain't gonna be hunky-dory once you say Jesus, Jesus this, Jesus that. No, but you're going through that because that's training. You being here on this earth is nothing more than training. Okay, look at it as boot camp for heaven. Okay. You go through this here, you work your way through it, and we go get ready to get off of here in a minute. But I'm gonna let Lady B handle the goodbyes on this. But this is AJ saying thank you, and I'm going to be letting her finish up on this. Okay? All right.
God loves us unconditionally, and when we choose to make decisions that does not align with His Word, God will forgive you. He will have mercy on you. But when we choose to go our own ways, there may be consequences, for those decisions that we make. God, again, He hates divorce because He designed the marriage. When a couple choose to get a divorce and break that commitment that they made together, it's like it makes a mockery of the covenant that God created with His sons and His daughters. So I don't believe divorce is His intention, but if there are situations that you are going through, like abusive situations and things like that, He hates violence. His character is not of confusion. He gives us peace. So therefore, we don't recommend that you stay in those type of situations. So,
okay, so with that, we're going to leave you guys to the next time, and then we will sign off with this. And here's Lady B, and this is AJ saying so long, and I'm going to let Lady B have the last word.
So, thank you for tuning in with us today. I encourage you to put God first in your marriage. Give Him your concerns and whatever issues that you're going through that you can't handle. Give it to God. He will see you through it. He will carry you through it. He will give you the peace, that you're looking for. So thank you for tuning in again today, and please subscribe on YouTube at listeningheartpodcast.com and visit our website at listeningheartpodcast.com. And you have a great and amazing day today. Bye-bye.